The reason why we come to ACC Kickoff is to chat with the man who is sitting down with us right now. He's the commissioner, Jim Phillips, commissioner of the ACC. Jim, thanks for having us. And more importantly, 5 years. You're in your 5th year as ACC commissioner. I feel like we have to commemorate this somehow. We have gifts for you.
We do.
Right here, I see it.
We got OG, we got a 4-pack
Thank you,
OG
guys.
Light, and more
What else you
importantly,
have
that's yours if you want it.
Absolutely.
But more importantly, we know that you want to pick up golf here in the future. It's on the agenda.
I do.
Well,
My wife and I, when we were dating, we played golf. When we first got married, we played golf. And then when we started to have a family, we felt like golf was not possible.
It's a lot of time commitment
And
there.
so 5 kids later, this last one that's in high school is the moment that we drop him off in college. I think we're going to play a round of 18.
Perfect.
And pick the clubs back up.
we
All right,
have
so
we have this for you. Ready
When
to
you
go.
come back,
Yes.
we have a wonderful sponsor in Rowback. And as you see, as I'm wearing, the flag is our logo, but it represents
love
NC
it.
State, Duke, and Carolina.
And Wake Forest with the yellow.
Rowback is big time.
They are.
They are really big time.
That
So
is
that's
the
for
best
you,
culture
Golf.
in the business.
Appreciate it.
Okay?
So
Thank you.
I'm curious, as you kind of look back on the 5 years, when you took the job, February of 21, when you started, I can't imagine that you thought you'd be drinking from the fire hose of college changes. Usually, you've been part of the NCAA for a very, very long time. You know things usually happen at an almost glacial pace. That has not been the case in the last 5 years.
It's massive. You guys cover it every day. You followed it very closely. No one could have predicted some of these things, maybe a few of the things, but not all of it. And it's all come together at the same time. That being said, post-COVID, post some of the litigation that we've had, both internally at the ACC, but nationally, new rules, new legislation, transfer portal, payment of student athletes, NIL. I believe we have gotten to a better place on all of those areas. We still have some work left to do. But I think it's a little bit of settling down as well, including expansion, which we went through heavy. So one of those issues over a 5 or 10 year period had been kind of normal in college sports, but to have a dozen issues over a 3 or 4 year period, and just the health crisis we had in the country as it relates to COVID and having never experienced that is about as unpredictable of an environment over the last 4 or 5 years as I've ever seen.
So there's unpredictability. There's also some things that we can all look ahead and try to get a grasp on it now. I totally agree with you in that we've hit some level of stability, but we also know that doesn't last for very long. And this is almost all tied together for 2030. And this is not necessarily in relation to the ACC grant of rights and the negotiations with Clemson and Florida State. This also, as industry insiders continue to point out, a big television year. College football playoff, Big Ten, SEC, ESPN, and the ACC have their agreement through 2036. But my curiosity is, as commissioner and those in your circle, how are you preparing for what will be here before you know it as a huge inflection point, not just for conferences, but I think for just all of college football in particular?
It's part of, I think, operating as a CEO in this kind of position, modern day. You have some short-term goals and you have some short-term issues that you're working through, some short-term accomplishments that you want to achieve, prioritization of certain areas, and then you have a longer-term look. And that I would fall into the longer term because there's been such unpredictability. You can't just spend all your time thinking about 5 or 6 years away from now. I think you got to stay in the present, and then look at what over the next 1 or 2 years is. But of course, you have to look at what 20, 30, 31, 32. You have several media deals that are available. The CFP starts next year, so it goes 26 through 31, right? And then you kind of start to understand what the future looks like. Even though with the CFP you would look earlier than that, you'd look probably 4 years, and with 2 years left, et cetera. And the goal is you have to position your league to the very best of your ability. And I said it yesterday. I don't know if it was eloquently stated, but it makes sense to me. We want to continue to be the league that schools want to be in, not have to be in. And that's where I think you see real serious decisions that were made in the league to continue to make sure that we are evolving, that we're progressive in kind of how we're thinking about the revenue distribution. No one has done it to the level we have. Success initiatives, viewership, even smaller things like scaling back from 20 league games to 18. I think all of that is a convergence of my role, listening to the membership, understanding the needs of the membership, because that's who we serve as a league office, and then setting the strategy about how do you accomplish those things, create collaboration amongst the league, because at the end of the day, they're still 18, and they're not always going to agree on everything.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of what we've done with this league over a 5-year period. I really am. You never hear me complain about whatever you kind of got or whatever you took over or anything like that, because I just feel like this has been a great league. It continues to be a great league. And you got to work through the issues that you have to work through. And every conference is a little bit different. I'm very appreciative of those 4 previous commissioners over the 73-year history. I just really am, and I'll always be grateful to them. And I don't think you guys have been over to my office.
We're scheduling that.
You need to do that. Come over and do one of your shows over there.
We will.
In my office, I have 4 pictures hanging on the wall, right? It's Jim Weaver, Bob James, Gene Corrigan, and John Swafford. And I see those guys every day, when I walk into that office. And I have great respect and admiration. So it isn't about, hey, what kind of hand did you take over, or this maybe wasn't exactly set up. That's crazy stuff.
It's easy to text John Swafford today and go, hey, man, did you know something I did?
Absolutely.
Because, man, you got out at the right time, my man.
He did. And every time I see him, he looks younger and happier.
Happier.
Absolutely,
right,
yeah.
Right.
So I would say that, Joe, as I look at not only current but future, that's what you have to do. You can't be oblivious, and you can't kind of shy away from that. So we'll continue to talk about the future of the ACC and what's best for the ACC, and we'll make corresponding decisions.
I had a basketball coach once who only read the headlines, and he would get mad about the headlines to me. And I'm like, back in the day when you wrote in a newspaper, you didn't write the headlines. So I was always like, why are you getting mad at me about the headlines? I say this to you because the Florida State and Clemson, the lawsuit that was settled, there was a compromise there. You mentioned those success initiatives. You mentioned the viewership. You mentioned it feels like a model. You guys are the first in there. It feels like one that I think will be copied. So the headline was you lost because you settled, right?
Right.
So when you look at the headline, you think, well, they lost. But if you actually look at some of the details in there,
read,
it kind of feels like these are some things. Sure, you came off of the grant of rights. That's fine. But I feel like you also got things in return that I feel like could be a successful model moving forward for you.
I agree. I wouldn't have done that, and I wouldn't have pushed to do that unless I felt that was the right thing. You two are very, I think, forward-thinking as it relates to the NCAA. I just know that over the 5 years, right?
Sure.
And we may not have agreed on every issue, but you guys have always kind of looked ahead at that modernization, which I think is an appropriate word. That's how I feel what we did from a revenue standpoint. Does it fit every league? It doesn't fit every league. But when you just look at the examples we have, and the only example we can really take away is professional sports, right? Those markets are different. And the revenues generated by those markets are different.
Yeah.
Right? And so
it's a reality.
It is the reality. But what I'm again just very proud of is that didn't help everybody in the league necessarily when we went to the viewership piece of it. But all of our schools in the league felt like that was a really good place to get to, a compromise and the rest. I do agree with you 100% that this will not be the first and only move in that direction.
Makes sense.
That you're going to see it as we go forward.
And I know it's Clemson and Florida State, but it gives any team with success. I know Georgia Tech is one that you may not think of, but between their Ireland game and their Georgia
Those are
game
good
last
numbers.
year,
Those are good numbers.
They put up some big numbers, and
I think they had Notre Dame last year too, didn't they?
and I get it. It's not SEC money, but if you actually look at the money that you distributed last year, you're closing that gap. I mean, you're never going to completely close it, but it's not the fear mongering that maybe we got 2 or 3 years ago when those lawsuits were settled. That has to give you a peace of mind. Because I thought you made a really smart move last year. You rolled out those numbers, maybe specifically for the Big 12 to let people know, hey,
top 3, I think.
here are the real numbers.
Yesterday.
And also from the expansion move. Hey, I was critical of adding Stanford and Cal and SMU all the way. I was critical of that. But I thought you were smart to use those numbers. I feel like those numbers are in your favor right now with the recent events.
I agree. We want to continue to ascend to the highest level we can in the ACC. And just because there's a gap, I don't want there to be a rationalization that we shouldn't perform at that level. And our schools don't feel that way.
Yeah.
They're trying to be creative on their own campuses, and I've tried to take the same kind of path forward from a creativity in how we are looking at those types of things, and to do some things that haven't been done before, and we have done that. And as we've talked about in our past sessions, this league is really a good league. It really is, and it got bruised during that time.
Sure.
And that's okay. That's all right. But
Yeah.
you come out of it, and what I was trying to state yesterday, and will continue to state, is that we're healthy. We're in really good position to take another step forward, and that starts here in football with these media days, and for us to have even greater success on the football field as it relates to winning national championships, getting more teams in the CFP.
Hey, you got 2 teams in
Absolutely.
last year. How many people thought you were to get 2 teams in
Absolutely,
last year?
and progression
Could have had 3.
within the CFP and the rest of it. So I feel really good about where we find ourselves today.
So I know we're running short on time here. I did want to get this in. You know, we just illustrated in the last 12 minutes or so what you have to do as commissioner of the league to get consensus amongst all these schools and make it work for everybody. But you also have to get consensus with the other Power 4 commissioners as it relates to the college football playoff, which we're, 3 months away from having to kind of figure this out. And I guess this is, again, back to the headline aspect of it that Giglio referenced. I'm curious about your calls or your perspective as when you talk to Greg Sankey or Brett Yormark or the Big Ten commissioner. You have to do what's right for your conference just like they have to do what's right for their conference, but you're also trying to do what's best for all of college football to raise everybody up. So the perspective that I'm curious about for you is, how can Power 4 commissioners all get on the same page when it seems that it's all there on Front Street. I'm not breaking any news here, that Greg Sankey and his own coaches seem to have lack of consensus on what they want to do. It went from spring meetings, we want this, to the coaches pushing back saying, whoa, 5-11 sounds pretty good. 5-11 is what you want. So what is your perspective on just the levels and layers of where you have to meet to get this thing right for the college football playoff?
Yeah. You stated it well. You have an obligation and a deep responsibility to the schools that you represent in your conference. And then you also have a responsibility, whenever possible, for the greater enterprise, for the greater good. You saw that what we did last year, or coming off of last year, that we did in the spring, where we changed to a straight seed. That makes sense. It was the top 5, conferences. The first 4 get ranked 1 through 4. We've gone now to straight seed. If the best team and the best 2 or 3 teams is from the same league, that's all right. They're going to be 1, 2, 3. That may not be good for the ACC this year. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. The hope is that it's good.
Yeah, but the point is, that's what's right and good for college football, and that's why I agreed to it. It had to be unanimous. It had to be all 10 leagues and Notre Dame. A step further, as we look at the CFP, access and fairness continue to remain important. I just can't state that high enough. At the end of the day, you earn what you get, and you get what you earn. Predetermined, artificial, invitationals, I don't have an appetite for that. I just don't, because I don't think it really reflects what student athletes expect when they come to college and they put on a uniform. regardless of what conference they're in, regardless of what team they're playing on, they want to have a chance to win a conference championship, and they want to have a chance to win a national championship in all sports. And I think about my own household with having a son that was a student athlete at Notre Dame and a daughter at Yale that was a student athlete. Just recently, she just graduated. 5 and 11 right now. We have a really good format right now. 5 and 7, and we'll stay at 5 and 7 if we can't, come to some kind of agreement here.
On that,
right.
So.
I like 5 and 11 because it gives 4 additional teams a chance to play. It takes you from having 9% of the field that plays FBS football to 12% that get a chance to play in the championship, and away we go. So I want continue. I have great respect for my colleagues. I talk to all of those commissioners frequently, like basically daily. So we're going to have to come together. The last month or so has been difficult. We've been on a regular cadence and meeting and talking about it and all that. We had some things right at the end of the college baseball World Series, and then we've had media days for 3 consecutive weeks for the different conferences. But we'll get back together and we'll continue the conversation.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can really do. Before we say goodbye, you're laying all this out, and you're somebody who has lived sports, right? Watching your kids go through it as well. Are you like us, and you feel like you're taking crazy pills sometimes when when people are talking about results? Like, I thought the whole point of sports, why we like this, is because there's a winner and a loser, and results matter.
Yeah.
And it has to go, wait a minute. What? I thought results matter. Why are we talking about results not mattering anymore? What are we doing here?
Your kid wasn't crying at the NCAA tournament because they won the game, dude.
Yeah, right.
So, do you sometimes take a step back and just kind of go?
He's a junior in college now too.
I know. That's the crazy part.
It's crazy.
But do you just sit back and you go? Do you just want to be like, guys? It's sports.
I know.
Sorry, we didn't turn the scoreboard on. We just
Otherwise, we do jamborees.
You said it well. It really is a reflection of the world.
Sure.
Life. It is. That right is wrong, wrong is right, left is right, right is left. Anyways,
just keep throwing
appreciate you guys.
Starfish back into the
appreciate
ocean.
you guys being here. Again, really
Always. We appreciate you making the time.
Thanks for having me on.
Enjoy the
save it for your first round.
Yeah.
And then
Don't save the beer,
Absolutely.
though. Don't save the beer.
And what's the website that has the handicaps? And we'll start tracking you.
Gin.
We'll start tracking
Gin.
you.
All right.
Keep on it.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.